Okay, so here's another brief layout update. So I finally got this part of it cleaned up so we can see kind of what's going on over here. So I have a locomotive sitting there. It's a GP35 just to represent the size. So some of these front tracks are going to be kind of short for small 4-axle units like this one or switchers. One other problem with this turntable is you can see this area here that says no track area. That means there's no power, because as the table spins it reverses the polarity once it gets to this point. So that track is dead. Anything on this side is reverse polarity from anything from that side. It's kind of too bad they didn't use one of those devices that when it senses a short it automatically changes the polarity, but it is what it is. It's not really a big deal. This track right here is going to be kind of useless anyway, because it's going to be a water tower. That's what that square is. There's going to be one of the Walthers steel water tower kits. Basically all the buildings around here are all Walthers Cornerstone. So that big one in the back, now you can see it's going to go this whole length. That is one of those waterfront warehouse, I think it is. There's like 4 kits there, because we're not using the whole building, so you can have it, essentially. So, so that's that. This one here, I think, is the car shop, and that one far over is the back shop, and that one's the diesel house. So as you can also see, there's going to be a transfer table. That's what this thing is here. That's going to service those shops. It's going to be really neat when I get this going here. This is very, very, very tight. I had to actually mock this up on the floor 5 years ago. Was it 5 or 4 years ago when I actually designed this? Because I didn't know if this was going to work or not. The space is very tight, and there's not much margin of error here. So basically the first thing that's going to have to go in is going to be this turntable, because it cannot be orientated any other way than you see it right now to make it work. And then the transfer table, and then I'll kind of have to work the buildings around, because I'm not sure with that transfer table how far down the unit will go when it gets to the end. So I may have to tweak these 2 tracks. So there's going to be 2 tracks that go in and feed the transfer station, just like 2 tracks coming off the fuel filling facility into the turntable here. So 2 tracks are going to feed into the turntable, and 2 tracks are going to feed into the transfer table. So that's why I say this is going to be really tight how this works. And then I'll kind of get the buildings around where they need to go. And we got a 6-stall roundhouse here with the extended bays on these 2 bays here. And then this one is some kind of shop. I forget what it is. So that's going to go there. And then the rest of the tracks will come out, as you can see marked here. And then obviously here I'm going to have plexiglass, because we don't need anything going to the floor. And that way it doesn't obstruct your view either. So I still haven't figured out quite how I'm going to do that, but it will be plexiglass. And also all these tracks will be switched, so you can shut the power off when you're not using them. That way you don't have an accidental locomotive starting up and going into the center pit. That would not be good. So that's kind of what I'm up to here. This is going to be neat when this is all done, but it's going to take a while. And I know a lot of you have talked about scenery, and scenery is on the back burner. I need to get the track work perfect before I try any scenery. I may attempt it out in the finished off room, because that track work is pretty good out there, and there's not a lot of switches and so on and so forth. So, but the main thing is to get the tracks working first before I do any scenery. Because if you do scenery and you need to move the track, you end up wrecking the track trying to get it up, especially if it's ballasted. So there it is from all different angles. Oh, I forgot to mention, so right here, I believe either this track or this track. I'm not sure how big the tower is, but it's a concrete coal tower. I was thinking about this track here, that way it's kind of out of the way, but I don't know yet. It kind of depends on how the track layout is going to go in here. So we'll see. So that's it. Lots to do. Of course, my workbench is a complete disaster now. So anyway, I said a brief update and we're already 6.5 minutes in. So anyway, thanks for looking.